I'm Steven. I'm Steven. You're Mary. Mary and Steven. Steven and Mary sitting around in a hotel all day.
That's our new intro.
Welcome back to Coffee Time with Steve and Mary. What a difference a week makes. Getting colder.
A little bit colder.
Little bit colder.
A little bit. There's still some days where we can go outside and it's nice and sunny, and I don't think we've been out in shorts in a while. But the people here, I swear, I'm like bundled in a coat and a hat and gloves, and they're not.
No. Walking around Christchurch. A lot of walking around Christchurch this week, enjoying another week of level 2 lockdown, non-lockdown.
Yeah,
you know what we
French
discovered?
fries.
French fries in the South Island are not as good as French fries in the North Island.
Not even close.
No, I don't know what they did.
Yeah, I don't get it. But there is a big difference between the chips that we get here and the chips on the North Island.
I think it's the oil.
But we did find some really good cookies.
Yes.
At
Mrs. Nesbis.
No, Higgins.
Mrs. Higgins.
It's not Higgins. It's Wiggins.
Mrs.
No,
Higgins.
It's Higgins.
Mrs. Higgins cookies. Carol Burnett. Thanks. Tim Conway.
Yeah, no, it's Mrs. Higgins cookies here in Christchurch is what we went by, and I think your cookie was a little bit better than mine.
I had a white chocolate raspberry cookie that was really delicious.
Yeah, and I just wanted a nice
chocolate chip,
home tasting chocolate chip cookie, and it was chocolate chip, but it wasn't the best though.
There is something to be said about having to walk in to get a cookie, and you have to walk up, you have to approach the store, you have to stand in the yellow circle, you have to get up to the front, then you have to sanitize your hands, pick up the pen, write your name, address, email, birth date, blood type.
Not all that. It's your this is actually interesting. It is your email address, your name, and your phone number,
anyone
your
you've traveled
time in
with,
and your time out.
if you came from somewhere else.
And you have to sign it.
Yes.
So
Contact tracing. Contact tracing.
Yes. Contact tracing.
All for a cookie.
Yeah, so it's so much easier for one of us just to kind of wait outside and, send the other person in.
We did dare to enter the store together.
What?
We went shopping together. Mary has been so flabbergasted, would be a nice word, as I come back each week from the grocery shopping with about $30 extra worth of food, as I keep trying new things, and I'm just, for the gusto. Miss List here has this mission of in and out of the store in 5 minutes and only items on the list.
Now, we have gotten a couple of things off lists, but we've at least now got our budget under control as far as food is concerned, so yay!
Yay!
Yay for that. 117 New Zealand dollars right there. Oh, Parmesan cheese this week.
Parmesan.
Normally don't get that. A couple things we normally don't get here, but for the most part.
And
oh yeah, blueberry.
Just in case you were wondering what Mary and I live on now. Popcorn.
Jalapeno corn chips. Man, these are good.
Okay, this is a win. I have not found anything that tasty, but this really just add that to a little bit of rice, and man, you've got like Chinese food takeout.
And it's only like $1 or something like that.
Yeah, so like a quarter a serving. Are you going to eat these, or are you going to be peckish about them?
So different shopping while in a hotel versus staying in the van. In the van, no meat.
I'll drive.
You'll drive?
I'll drive.
Okay, hop in. Oh.
You give me back that wheel. We tried a new walk up to the north.
Oh, it is up to the north. It's over by the, out past the airport.
Mcleans Forest. It's like they did logging and they planted some trees and the forest is coming up. But the really cool part about it is a 13, 14 kilometer walk. And beside each walking trail is also a bike trail. So bikers can go out and weave around and jump hills and stuff. And every now and then the humans and the bikes cross paths. And you really have to watch that you don't get run over. But otherwise, fun.
Mcleans Forest track today.
So Mcleans Forest walk is that way, Treslian Loop is that way, Templars Island is that way, and Mcleans Park is down in hill. What?
So I take it that way is the Treslian Loop, which is bicycle. And even though it points right here, I think it's that way into the forest walk. It looks like a forest. Well, that
Apparently,
was the wrong way.
learning the English language is something we're still working on. So wrong way and walking way. Who knew?
So that must be the trestle thing down there, and this is the other one. Even though, I don't know.
Yeah, it's confusing.
What was that?
This is just like walking through Florida without the alligators, snakes, spiders. Just need an orange grove.
Well, maybe not like Florida. Not quite like Florida?
Not quite.
It always helps to be on trail, which we find ourselves off trail
Quite
a bit. Yeah. So
We're going left or right?
we'll go left. This looks more like a trail. So we're going to take it and hope that it's not a bike only.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's not very well marked. He tried to mark, but it's just not overly.
Looks like a bike trail, lots of bike tracks.
So we finally found the track that we're supposed to be on, walking and running. Actually, it's pretty nice. I like the pine on it. It's nice and
Cushiony.
Cushiony.
It smells great. That's a nice part. The smell. Smells very foresty.
in a good way.
In a good way.
I like it. It's pretty good. It's really kind of a confusing track as far as trying to figure out where you're supposed to walk. But once you figure it out, good deal. You can, they actually can rent a bike for 2 hours for like 23 New Zealand dollars, which isn't too bad for a couple hours.
Was that cheap?
Yeah.
Why didn't we rent a bike?
They weren't open.
Oh, that's a good reason. Bathroom wasn't open yet either.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm sure we're going to go back out there another time because really enjoyed it. It was a decent walk. It was a long walk, but there was like no elevation gain to it at all.
Yep.
So,
And then of course we had to get our cultural side on, so we took a trip over to the Canterbury Museum. Now Canterbury is, if you're a United States person, picture it like they have a city and then they have a state and then the country. So Canterbury is like the state or the region as they call it here. Yeah. Christchurch is a part of the Canterbury region. We saw Big Bird.
Yeah, they had some moa there. Not Samoa. Moa.
A heck of a drumstick. That egg could feed us quite a few breakfasts.
I think so.
The size of his freaking feet, man.
And they also had Maori type of displays.
So you've got a bunch of mannequins that look like Maori people with a big bird, and they're hunting the big bird, and then they've got some women digging out a canoe and some kids fishing by the stream. And so if you can put yourself into that, it was like a night at the museum. You get to see a nice diorama. Speaking of big birds, apparently, did you know there was like a 5-foot penguin at some point? A Waipara giant penguin, or the Crausvilla Waiparas kickasasis. They found this and it was like, that's his toe.
No, a lot of damage, man. Oh my god. Yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage. Oh, here we go. How do we measure up?
So it was kind of unique to see a 5-foot penguin. Never have ever have I seen a moose skeleton until now.
Yeah.
So big skeleton like a dinosaur of a moose.
I don't know why they have it here because they don't have moose at all here in New Zealand.
If I could base the span of this museum, you have to start with the Maori, the original indigenous people of New Zealand. And then the English came in and started clubbing seals and harpooning whales, and they brought some of their stuff with them. And so you end up with some really cool costumes of the 1700s, 1800s, buckles, fancy wear, right down to skeletons. It was a very, very diverse museum.
That it was. It also had some newer things. It had displays from 1970s through 2010 or something like that.
It was so funny because one part was all interactive and it had like games that you could touch and heart rate monitors and stuff, and then every one of them had don't touch because of COVID-19.
I think you touched one.
I did a heart rate one.
You did a heart rate, but pretty much nothing else.
Yeah.
Great. What'd you find?
So what we have here is an early 1800 Lego picker-upper. Well, Legos were made out of metal back then, and if you stepped on one, it hurt way worse than the plastic ones, so they would roll them up with a Lego picker-upper. This was an early tooth extractor.
Yikes. For dinosaurs?
This here was the Booth McDonald lottery ball picker. You turn the handle and one of the balls falls out and they hold it up and go, number 6.
Yeah, it was an interesting museum. As a museum goes, it was it was free for us to get in, and it was good walking around, and we learned more about New Zealand and the culture and the people here and how they survived and what brought them here. And
well, free cool. With donations, you donate.
Well, yeah.
Then we decided to go over to another museum, which was the Art Museum of New Zealand.
I think it was the Christchurch only.
Oh, Christchurch Art
Gallery.
Yeah. That one looks like me trying to decide on what kind of boat to get.
Sure reminds me of Muggsy. This is you after you have dinner.
Spinach.
My bella.
I guess I'm just not an artist. I don't know. Some of it was really just intriguing. Some of it was pure boring to me. And then, I guess it's my kid at heart, but they had a clay puppet model of an old man sitting in his underwear at a table staring at a chicken.
It was my favorite.
It was my favorite.
By far my favorite. It was so good. I don't know why. It just reminded me of Jack Lemmon for some reason. Just sitting at the end of the table, and the chicken on one side, I don't know, it was like they were just staring. It's like they were playing chicken. They were doing
like a chicken stare down.
Who's going to blink first.
The detail on this. I mean, the guy's elbow had rings, and they had little hairs, and he had real hair stuck to him. And the chicken had real feathers on him. And
kudos to that artist. Yeah, beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot that was fascinating. So,
planning time. Time to get our butts back up to the North Island.
Yeah, yes. So, as we mentioned last time, we're doing Abel Tasman Walk, which is our last great walk that we're going to be able to squeeze in while we're here in New Zealand.
And now that we've got that confirmed, it's time to book the ferry. So we booked the ferry over to the North Island. Mm-hmm. And we're starting our list of must-dos. So things we missed out on the first time. Yes, Lord of the Rings fans, it's time for us to go to Hobbiton.
It's for you, Rachel.
There's also some really cool things we're looking forward to. There's a tree walk where they actually walk in the top of the trees from branch to branch or whatever.
That's in the Rotorua area, which is the geothermal areas of
Roto-doo-doo, that's the name, and away your troubles go down the drain. Yeah,
Rotorua. So think of Yellowstone National Park if you've been there, or just imagine with the mud pools and the prisms and things like that. That's the area, and they have redwood trees there. And we're going to go walk in the redwood trees.
Some of us will walk through the trees. Some of us will probably be hugging the trees.
Some of us are going to do both.
Okay. We're going to try to pick up another glowworm cave. The last one was nice, but it was disappointing that when we got there, we were told not to film. So there's a couple glowworm caves we can go to on the North Island that you can actually enter and linger and do things on your own account rather than a tour. So we're going to try that out.
Yeah, I also want to get to Hot Water Beach, which is this, it's like one of the best beaches in the world, and it's very unique. You can go out there and you take a shovel and you dig a hole in the ground, and hot water comes up from underneath, and so you're just out there on
You
the
get into
beach and
thermal
you get
hot water.
like a thermal hot water. Up in Northland, they have giant sand dunes, and we know how much we love playing in sand dunes.
Yes. Shove people down sand dunes.
Yeah, gotta roll down. So maybe we'll actually get out some boards and go scoot down them.
We could take the table out of the van and slide down on the table.
There we go. It sounds like fun.
Oh, means it's almost time to start selling the van too.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
have
that's
to,
part of next week's tasks. Start looking at selling the van.
yeah, we have a couple of projects that we need to do just to spruce it up just a little bit. At this point, it would be a little bit difficult for us to sell it, but we would have gotten it sold fairly easily going into winter, because people still would be coming into New Zealand. But since the borders are still closed and it is winter, it's going to be
It's harder to sell it.
a lot more difficult. So
And usually there's a couple 100,000 tourists coming in and out every month, and they all want to buy a van and use it, and now they're not coming in. So a lot of people left the country and ditched their vehicles at low or below costs.
some left them with some friends to sell. We're just hoping that so there's a couple of things we want to do just to make ours seem a little bit more attractive to potential buyers.
Hopefully recoup a little bit of our investment in it, and if not,
maybe.
we'll find somebody to try to help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we'll do.
What else you got on your list?
I don't know. That's
Ooh, something called a page break.
a page break.
Yes, it's a page break. It's French for the end. Finne.
Fin.
That's our list for this week.
Yeah, so if you've been to New Zealand, and if there's anything on the North Island that you think that we need to go do that you haven't heard on our list, please inform us.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Write it in the comments, send us an email, attach it to our webpage.
Yeah, we're thinking about also, we never mentioned it, but we were thinking about maybe going to the WIDA workshop.
So for you movie buff fans, that's all the New Zealand movies that come in and film here. Lord of the Rings.
Well, they're
Avatar,
Hollywood movies, but they're
movies.
coming here to
They
New
come here,
Zealand.
and there's a big shop down there that makes all the costumes and stuff.
And
So
the creatures. And
Creatures.
Yeah, the creatures.
Yes. Yeah. My precious. Yeah.
Exactly. He's got it. I think he's there. So we may go do that right before we go to Hobbiton. So, but if there's anything else that you think that we should be doing, let us know.
well, until next week, thanks for joining us. Safe travels, everyone.
Remember to find your dream and own it. If you'd like to see more of our videos, make sure you click like and subscribe.
Take care.